You know, some of the most profound things in life don't shout for our attention. They kind of earn it, quietly. And today, we're going to explore one of them. It's a humble little flower with a surprisingly deep story to tell about strength, faith, and influence. This is the stock flower.
So picture a garden. A lot of flowers, they just grab your eye, right? They're all about these brilliant, flashy colors. But the stock flower, well, it plays a completely different game. The way it introduces itself, the first way you know it's even there, isn't with your eyes at all. It's through its absolutely beautiful and captivating scent.
There's this line that just captures it perfectly. It is a plant that whispers rather than shouts. Its whole vibe is gentle. It's this subtle presence that just fills the space around it, without ever needing to be the loudest or the brightest thing in the room. And that gets you thinking, doesn't it? What can something as simple as a flower actually teach us about a life of quiet strength? Can we look at it and find a model for a different kind of influence, one that's based on character and steadiness, instead of just making a lot of noise? Well, let's dive in and find out.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about its most defining feature, that incredible fragrance that arrives before you even lay eyes on the flower itself. People say it's this sweet, almost spicy, kind of clove-like scent. I mean, imagine walking through a garden and suddenly you're surrounded by this amazing smell. You follow it, you search for the source, and only then do you find these beautiful, unassuming flowers. It's the perfect metaphor, really. Influence doesn't always have to be seen to be felt.
And here's where it gets really interesting. This whole theme of quiet strength, it's literally built right into the flower's names.
So its common name, stock, it comes from an Old English word that means something firm, sturdy, foundational. Think about the stock of a tree or a strong root system. It's the anchor, right? The solid base that everything else grows from.
And you can totally see that in the way it grows. It doesn't just sprawl out or collapse. No, it stands tall in these strong, upright spikes. It almost reminds you of that biblical idea of being rooted and grounded, to stand fast. This flower literally looks like that idea in plant form.
And get this, even its scientific name, Matthiola, has this beautiful hidden layer. Now, technically it honors a botanist, but the name sounds so much like Matthew, which in Hebrew means gift of God. What a perfect coincidence, right? It's this quiet, unassuming flower that offers the amazing gift of its fragrance.
Okay, so we know its fragrance is its signature move, but when it releases that fragrance, well, that might be its most powerful lesson for us.
Just think about it for a second. When would you expect a flower's scent to be the strongest? Probably in the middle of the day, with the bright sun beating down, right? That seems logical.
But with the stock flower, that's not it at all. Its scent actually gets stronger in the cooler, quieter parts of the day. In the late afternoon, the evening, the early morning. As the world calms down, its fragrance speaks up. And there's such a powerful spiritual parallel here. Just like the flower's perfume is released when the heat of the day is gone, maybe the best parts of our own character, our own sweet savor, come out not in the hustle and bustle, but in those quiet moments of reflection, or maybe even in our toughest times.
And the lessons don't stop there, because the way this flower is built, its very structure has something to teach us about community.
See, these aren't big, showy, look-at-me blossoms. They're actually pretty small, and they grow in these dense clusters all the way up a central stem.
So here's the key takeaway from that. One single tiny blossom. You might walk right past it, but when you get hundreds of them together, they create the stunning column of color and fragrance that's impossible to ignore. They literally build upward, together. It's such a beautiful picture of what a community can be, of what the Source calls the body of believers, where every single person contributes to a whole that is so much greater than the sum of its parts. And just look at these colors. They're not fiery reds or bright oranges. They're these soft, pastel, comforting colors. Lavender, rose, cream, pale pink. They're meant to soothe you, not overwhelm your senses, which just fits so perfectly with this flower's gentle character.
And just like it prefers the cooler parts of the day, the stock flower also thrives in the cooler seasons, spring and fall. It really struggles in the intense heat of summer. It's just one more little detail, one more metaphor for how character often flourishes best not in extremes, but in environments of balance and quiet reflection.
All right, so let's pull all these threads together. Let's look at the kind of life, the kind of influence that this humble little flower really represents.
Our world often tells us that influence is all about visible power, about having the loudest voice. But the stock flower shows us a totally different way. It teaches steadiness over power.
It chooses whispering over shouting, and it values a fragrant, unseen influence over demanding to be seen.
And this, right here, is what it all boils down to. A life that's rooted in faithfulness doesn't have to be loud or dramatic to be powerful. True strength can be quiet. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest impact we'll ever have won't come from the things people see us do, but from the unseen grace and character that just fills the air around us.
And we'll end on this beautiful thought. Maybe we don't need to try so hard to get noticed. Perhaps, like the stock flower, all we really need to do is stand firm where we've been planted, bloom with grace, and just trust that our fragrance, our character, will do the rest.